This MailChimp-verific jingle is brought to you by MailChimp.
MailChimp, your marketing with AI and more. Advanced automations to connect to your store. MailChimp, your marketing and boost your clicks. Multi-channel campaigns now with SMS. That's lit.
MailChimp your marketing today with the #1 AI-powered email marketing and automation platform, Intuit MailChimp. #1 based on publicly available data on competitors' customers. Plans vary. SMS available as add-on. Visit MailChimp.com.
Are negative Google reviews hurting your business? Don't let unfair feedback cost you customers. At Webamax, we specialize in removing false, misleading, and damaging reviews so your online reputation stays strong. Our expert team works quickly and legally to clean up your digital presence, helping you rebuild trust. Visit us on the web at www.gowebamax.com. That's GOWEBIMAX.com, or text us for a free quote at 856-840-8343. Don't let bad reviews define you. Get immediate help from Webamax.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Go further with the American Express Business Gold Card. Earn 3 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels when you book through AmexTravel.com. Whether your destination is a business conference or a client meeting, your purchases will help you earn more points for future trips. Experience more on your travels with Amex Business Gold. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We're part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well, at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined often by my football guru, Ian, along with a bunch of other friends of the show on occasion. Let's get to it. Hey, what's going on, Ram fans? Episode 666 of Rams Up. Should I have skipped that episode number? Not sure how much I like it, but we're going to have some fun this episode. I'm going to bring back my who's pumped, who's pissed, who's perplexed, taking the pulse of fan bases across the country. You know, just how I suspect these fan bases might be feeling. Episode 666, let's talk about a player who wore number 66 for our Los Angeles Rams. Guy that had a very interesting career, middle linebacker Myron Padios. Okay, so Padios played at the University of Notre Dame, played offensive line and linebacker. You know, we're covering a lot of these old school guys that did that, played both ways. He was a team captain there, drafted in the second round in 1961 by the Steelers, played 4 years with them, and then jumped over to the Rams. Played 5 years for the Rams. He was their starting middle linebacker from 1967 to 1970, playing between outside linebackers Jack Pardee and Maxie Bond. Now, the Rams coach during that period was the famous George Allen. Had a couple stints with the Rams. But owner Dan Reese fired him following the 1970 season. And shortly thereafter, the Washington Redskins hired George Allen. And then, very quickly after that, Allen made what is now the third largest trade in NFL history. The Rams and Redskins did 14 players involved. Allen traded for the entire Rams linebacking core, Pardee, Padios, and Bond, all of them going over to the Redskins. That entire 1971 trade, Padios, Pardee, Bond, Dyron Talbert, John Wilbur, and Jeff Jordan, and a 5th-round pick to Washington for Marlon McKeever, a 1st and 3rd rounder, and then 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th rounders in the following year. A crazy trade. And I remember this, pretty groundbreaking. It was big news in Los Angeles when this came down. And by the way, those 2 picks that the Rams received in the 1971 draft, they used them wisely. Drafted one of the best linebackers in Rams history, Isaiah Robertson, and a very good safety, Dave Elmendorf, who they paired up with Nolan Cromwell for several years. Really good back end for the Rams there. Myron Padios, number 66 for the Los Angeles Rams, involved in one of the biggest trades in NFL history. Before we move on, some Rams-related news and notes from across the World Wide Web. Yahoo Sports predicting that Josh Sweat, the outside linebacker edge rusher from the Eagles, will not re-sign with the Super Bowl champs and will instead take his show to Los Angeles and join this young Rams defense. I just don't see that as an area of need for our Rams. We need to spend our money elsewhere. Yahoo Sports also advocating in another article for the Rams to sign recently released cornerback Kendall Fuller. The Dolphins let him go. I don't see that either. Is that an upgrade at a position where we need to upgrade? Is he an improvement over Darius Williams? Certainly not over Ahkello Witherspoon, so not feeling that either. And apparently the word on the street from multiple sources is the Rams and Stafford negotiations are going nowhere. Rams finding the current offer, according to Jerry Fowler of SB Nation, untenable. And this could just be the negotiations playing out, not to get spun up about anything yet. Hopefully they figure things out. And word on the street from multiple sources is the Rams could actually get a day 3 draft pick back for Cooper Kupp. I'm still predicting he ends up getting released, though. And back to Stafford for a second. A lot of names getting thrown out there. Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold, he's a free agent, and Jimmy G. And I have to say, if they move on from Stafford, it has to be Jimmy G this year. I think the more I think about it, I know I recently argued for Aaron Rodgers, not really argued for him, but thought he was a guy that could potentially get the Rams back to the Super Bowl. But Jimmy G, McVay loves him. He's a proven commodity, fits this offense well. And I'd have to say, the Rams would have a shot with Jimmy G as their quarterback. And I know some of you are going to be throwing darts at me. Hey, go ahead. I get it. But when you consider all of the possibilities or the lack of options at that position, if the Rams move on from Matthew Stafford this year, Jimmy G isn't that bad of an alternative. Again, I want Matthew Stafford back, and I think he will be back. But we have to consider the possibility that he won't be back. And I wanted to share another article, this one on Sports Illustrated by Brock Vieira. And he was taking a UCLA angle in this article, talking about former UCLA players, specifically Quentin Lake. And one of the things that he reported was that the improvement in the Rams defense might have had more to do with tackling than anything else. He referred to some data compiled by NFL analysts Mike Band, James Reber, Chase Daskalos, and Weston Roshuper. And they pointed out that through the first 10 weeks of the season, the Rams were 26th in the NFL in tackle efficiency. And they had no healthy starter that had lower than a 9.5% missed tackle rate. So that's not a good look. And through those 10 weeks, they were 4-5. But in the last 8 weeks of the regular season, they ranked 8th in tackle efficiency. They had a 6-2 record over those games. And they had 7 starters from week 11 on that recorded a missed tackle rate less than 8.8%. That is an amazing improvement. I don't know if it was coaching or just young players figuring things out, but some of these guys were not young players. The 7 starters with that low missed tackle rate: Christian Roseboom, Omar Spates, Quentin Lake, Cameron Kinchins, Cameron Curl, Darius Williams, and Bobby Brown. Pretty impressive improvement in the tackling department for this defense. Be back in a second. I'm going to tell you which fan bases are pumped, which ones are pissed, and which ones are just plain perplexed.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This President's Day, upgrade the look of your home without breaking your budget. Save up to 50% site-wide on new window treatments at Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it easy with free virtual consultations on your schedule and samples delivered to your door fast and free. With over 25 million windows covered and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, you can count on Blinds.com to deliver results you'll love. Shop Blinds.com's President's Day mega sale now for up to 50% off site-wide. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Since you're new to H&R Block, we'll look at your returns from the last 3 years for any money your last guy might have missed, for free.
I could get money back from last year?
You could. We'll find any mistakes.
Could have really used that 2 years ago when I dated that mistake for 5 months.
Don't leave money on the table. Switch to H&R Block and get a free Second Look review. Second Look is included at no additional cost with the purchase of tax preparation. Results vary. All tax situations are different. Fees apply if you have us file an amended return.
Build a routine with Ollie that supports your wellness needs, like getting your daily vitamins and minerals with Ollie's multi-gummies, or keeping your mood upbeat with all the vitamin D in Hello Happy. Give your gut health some support with probiotics, and wake up feeling refreshed after taking Ollie Sleep. Do wellness on your terms. Find Ollie at a Walmart or Target near you or at ollie.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Let's get into my latest Who's Pumped, Who's Pissed, Who's Perplexed segment, taking the pulse of fan bases across the NFL. This is always a little bit of fun, at least it is for me. And I have 4 franchises, 4 fan bases, I should say, that I think should be pumped right now. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles fan base, kind of obvious. However, there's always this response to a dominating Super Bowl win that this team is unbeatable. We have a dynasty on hand here, and I don't think that's the case with the Eagles. They're a very good team, solid roster throughout, but yeah, they're probably my number 1 team heading into 2025, but let's not pretend it's going to be a cakewalk for them, because it is not. Another fan base that has to be a little bit pumped is the Chicago Bears fan base, hiring Ben Johnson away from the Lions, pairing him up with Caleb Williams. Now they just need to draft a couple of offensive linemen, maybe add one in free agency, and the Bears could be a force in 2025. Now, it doesn't take much for the Raiders fan base to get pumped up, so I suspect they're pretty thrilled with this Pete Carroll hire. I don't know how I'd feel about it if I was a Raiders fan, but you could obviously do a lot worse than Pete Carroll. At least he's a known entity. You know what you're getting. And let's think of him as a bridge coach, right? Get this Raiders franchise back on track. And I was originally going to say the Jags fan base, one of the worst run franchises in the league, right? Thought their fan base might be pissed or perplexed, but actually with this Liam Cohen hire, I think I'd be a little bit pumped if I was a Jags fan. Plus, they have plenty of salary cap space in the mid-30s. That's in the mid-level compared to other NFL franchises, but they also have a big rollover from the 2024 season. So Liam Cohen can make some moves this year in free agency. So which franchises are pissed? I just have one, and that is the Cleveland Browns fan base. Now, let's rewind to about 15 years ago. The Browns were in bad shape, but they had a lot of cap space as that decade progressed. Then they used a bunch of it at the end of the decade to bring over Deshaun Watson, and that move has cost them dearly. They are in bad shape, $34 million over the cap. Only the Saints are in worse shape. And then the timing's off for them. They're drafting second. Go get your next quarterback, right? But this is not a good quarterback draft. They're probably going to take Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback out of Colorado, Deion Sanders' son, but I'm sure they would tell you off camera that they wish they had this second pick next year and not this year. They're going to have to cut a bunch of guys. It's total rebuild mode. This franchise is not in a good place, and now Myles Garrett wants out as well. Maybe they can get something in return for one of the best edge rushers in the league, one of the best defensive players, period, in the league. And I was going to throw the Saints on here as a fan base being pissed, but the fact that they are, look, well, I think it's $60 million over the cap already, thanks to another bad quarterback contract, that's kind of offset by bringing Kellen Moore in. I think that's a really good hire. So I left the Saints off this list. Well, actually, maybe I didn't. I just brought them up, didn't I? Now, there are a bunch of fan bases that are perplexed, and the first one is the Cincinnati Bengals. Or is it just Joe Burrow that's perplexed, maybe pissed? Just not making the necessary moves, retaining the right players for Joe Burrow to meet his true potential. And the Giants fan base has to be a little perplexed. I mean, they've been pissed all year watching Barkley go off on everybody, but these trade rumors, how they feel about adding Matthew Stafford, it seems like a desperation move by the coach and general manager there trying to save their jobs. So as a fan, I'd be a little perplexed about what's going on there, selling their soul for a shot at 1 year of glory, 2 years at the most, and it's not a sure thing. Even if they added Kupp and Stafford, what is this franchise going to do this year? They're not going to win an NFC title, I don't think. Another perplexed fan base is the Detroit Lions fan base. Jared Goff coming up short in the playoffs, and now their defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, respectively, have both left. Big culture swing there, and a couple of really smart guys going out the door. And to make matters worse, Ben Johnson going to a divisional rival. We already talked about that. Another fan base that has to be perplexed is the Dallas Cowboys. I would be perplexed by that hire, Brian Schottenheimer. This is supposedly an iconic franchise, America's team. Not really anymore, but Brian Schottenheimer, I mean, he's a great football guy, but I just think the Cowboys could do a lot better. And the Chiefs fan base has to be scratching their heads. What the heck happened here? This does not happen to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So they're perplexed about the future of this franchise. They're still going to be good, but not good enough. They need to make some changes. And I think the Rams fan base is certainly perplexed, maybe about to become pissed. A lot of us maybe, if this trade goes down. And again, don't get upset at me. I'm not expecting a trade of Matthew Stafford. It's highly doubtful. But with what's going on with Stafford and Cooper Kupp, we have to be a little perplexed. Let's just be honest here. And the 49ers fan base is truly perplexed. A lot of guys going out the door there. Dre Greenlaw, Deebo Samuel. What's this wide receiver core going to look like? Are they going to have the money to upgrade positions of need? Is Trent Williams going to retire soon? Is this his last year? Are they going to give all this money to Brock Purdy? Make a Derek Carr type mistake and hamstring this roster for 4 or 5 years? 49ers are in a tough spot, and the fan base has to realize it. And the last perplexed fan base, how about the New York Jets fan base? It's almost comical. They hire Aaron Glenn. Good hire, I think. I still prefer offensive-minded head coaches, but you could do a lot worse than Aaron Glenn. And Aaron Rodgers, they tell him, no, we're good here. You can move along now. But they don't have a quarterback. So what does that tell you about how they feel about Aaron Rodgers, who actually played well over the last 7 or 8, 9 games? He still has it, but they're just tired with his act, his locker room vibe, and on the field vibe as well, I suppose. But what are the Jets fans thinking here? Okay, we don't want Aaron Rodgers back, but we have no plan at the quarterback position. Now they have the number 7 overall pick. Are they going to settle for one of these top 2 quarterbacks if they're there at number 7? Or do they reach for someone that really doesn't deserve to be picked there? Do they try to trade back and find a quarterback? Do they sign a free agent? I don't know, man. If I'm a Jets fan, I'm pretty perplexed. On the one hand, probably good with Aaron Rodgers moving on, but on the other hand, what are we going to do? Another year of mediocrity in New York is on the horizon. That's my who's pumped, who's pissed, who's perplexed. I think that's a pretty accurate reading of how the fan bases across the league are feeling now. Of course, I leave a lot out. A bunch of teams don't deserve to be in either category, but these are the fan bases that are pumped, pissed, and perplexed. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.